How much of that, from a guy perspective, when you look at it, um, with men and say, let's take men and dating, for example, and going out and expecting, well, not expecting, but having relationships, starting a relationship, and allowing themselves to be treated in a bad way, and it goes for both sexes, but we're dealing with men here. But and then going, well, that's kind of accepting that, and then things go down the track, and the relationship gets worse and worse, and eventually you break up. And I love it. I hadn't heard it put this way before, but a friend of mine said to me not too long ago, said, well, when you first meet someone, that's the best you're going to get, because everyone puts on their best right now. It's going to so if you don't like that person at the start, at the very first couple of dates, chances are it's going to get worse from there. But from that perspective, how much of this comes back to guys taking that step back and, like you say, dealing with maybe therapy is needed, but to get to a position of liking yourself and going, hey, I like who I am. Doesn't matter what the rest of the world says. And I know I'm probably leaning a little bit heavily on my mum there, but I like who I am. And I'm going, if you don't like me, that's okay. I'm going to associate with people that do like me.
Whoosh, Damon, that's massive, massive what you just said.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest to you that the vast majority do not love or like themselves. So
Mm.
they're very different to you. Here's the deal, Damon. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? Well, there's other people, of course. It's certainly not me.
Mm.
And there's some work that's needed to help people build self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, but it does get set up back there in the childhood development
Mm.
stage. So many of us, I am there now, but believe me, it took years.
Mm.
But I would suggest you the vast majority do not love themselves. Now, here's the deal, and I'm open to being challenged. You cannot love somebody else until you love yourself. No,
I
that's my
think.
better half there. That's my better half. Mm, I hear that. But
Mm.
no, you really cannot love that better half until you learn to love yourself. So there's some work to be done,
Mm.
often in therapy and counseling, to learn to love yourself. Something happened back there that fractured the image of self.
Mm.
And that's where I come on board with this strange thing called EMDR,
Yeah.
where the brain can heal you from the trauma of childhood development
Mhm.
20, 30, 40 years ago. It's not me, the therapist, that's doing it. Your brain is capable of healing you. And you don't have to relive the trauma of childhood in some big way in order to get that healing. The most weirdest thing, this thing, EMDR, but it works and I'm doing it every day
You
and
want to
it
explain
works.
a little bit about EMDR?
Oh no, no, David. I can talk
Let's
till the
make a
cows
booking.
come home. I can talk till the cows come home about it, but you're still gonna sort of got it, Gary, but thrown on you tell me a bit more. Okay, another 24 hours. Yeah,
Maybe we'll do a
another.
follow-up.
Listen, I've got a sheet about it, but the best way I've got a sheet about EMDR, which I can send you, but also what I'd say is, look, I've got a number of video clips on
Mm.
that sheet. Watch a few of the video clips.
Yeah.
Prince Harry, it's about 2.5 years ago now, went back into counseling. We know he's in the media, but he went back into counseling, and actually what he chose was EMDR. Why?
Mm.
What was it about? His mother's death 30 odd
Yeah.
years ago, and
Yeah.
the stuff that's still impacting him.
Mm.
Absolutely. And so EMDR isn't a talk therapy
Mhm.
like CBT and the others. It is talk therapy, but it's the model is one of it's not the therapist that's doing the healing. Your brain is capable of healing you.
Mhm.
And when we're in deep REM sleep, our
Mm.
eyes is doing this.
Mm.
left to right, left to right. And while it's doing that, that actually is the brain processing the day's events, the week's events, and putting them in
Mm.
pockets. Now, I'm in danger of my EMDR therapy world call. Gary puts it like this, but here's a stab. You asked me to try and explain it.
Mhm.
The way I explain it, and I've got a simple brain, and I need things put simple for me and for my clients. And it's like this. It's like you own an 8-bedroom mansion house, but
Mhm.
for some reason you only go into 5 of the bedrooms. And the other 3 have just over the years collected cobwebs and coverings and stuff. And when the EMDR starts and you do this funny thing, moving your eyes from left to right while you're awake, or tapping that's igniting the left brain, right brain, some strange thing, it's as if the brain goes into the 3 bedrooms that you never go into, and it
Mm.
removes the coverings and the cobwebs, and it finds things in there. I didn't remember about that. Wow, I didn't remember. I didn't, because what happened was the small t trauma, whatever
Mm.
the trauma is. Remember, trauma can be the 6-year-old whose action man was stolen by the boy down the road, and his dad didn't go back and rescue it. And 40 years later, still telling me about that. Why? Because it was trauma on a 6-year-old's brain. So don't look at trauma as something that happens in Afghanistan in a war zone. It's
Mm.
how that brain of that young child received it. Yeah. And so you go into the 3 bedrooms that you never go into whilst the processing is essentially, and the brain finds stuff and it gives you some new information because you got fixed with a view of that event based on the 5 senses. It
Mm.
got locked into your body based upon the limited 5 senses because of your immature brain as the child, but it brought it all together, and that's what locked in your body. The
Mm.
body remembers the score, is what Bessel van der Kolk says. It's locked in your body. So the trauma is there. You don't have to talk about the event and after 10 minutes, you'll find the emotions at work in your body. It shows the stuff is on process. So when the brain is finding the new information in those 3 bedrooms, it adds it to the mix of what you're carrying, which causes you now to have to look at the perspective that you always were carrying. Maybe it's not fully that. And the brain somehow, you see, it doesn't take away the event, it just changes the perspective that you have about the event. So you can
Mm.
now talk about the event later on, the death of somebody significant to you, and then you scan your body
Mhm.
and you realize, I have talked about it and thought about it like I used to, but I don't feel disturbed and agitated like I used to.
Mm.
Ooh, what's happened? The EMDR has filtered out and reprocessed the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.